Welcome. This is episode 5. Oh man, it's
5 already.
Things have gone very quickly, haven't they? So episode 5, this is actually the official episode where after this one, we're going to go to podcast services. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a couple of minutes, but welcome. I am Chris, the real Darth guy, and then beside me, I have Justin, Baggy Noodle Arms, and how are you doing today?
Doing well. I was a little tired today. Drank a smoothie, went for a walk, feeling better now. So
nice. So I am struggling a little bit lately, and it kind of hit me, I want to say in the last 2 days or so. All of a sudden, it feels weird to have to stay home all the time. Like, because, we're in the stay-at-home order, and you're supposed to stay separated from people. I like to call it spatial distancing rather than social distancing, because we do have the convenience of being able to talk to people through Discord and interact with people through Twitch. We have a very good situation for this, but I've been struggling lately. Have you been struggling at all?
A little bit. I'm one of those people who goes to the grocery store every 2, maybe 3 days.
Okay.
I don't plan ahead food-wise, so this whole thing's been weird because I haven't been to the grocery store in, 3 weeks now.
Ooh.
So, I'm kind of like picking from the remains of my cabinets just to figure out different meals, and which is good because it kind of made us a little more variety than what we're eating. But
okay.
But yeah, it's been weird. I'm used to going to the store every few days. I'm used to, we'd go to Target just to do something in the winter, just to get out of the house.
I'm kind of the same way, just to get out of the house. I was thinking about how I used to take going out to dinner for granted. Like, just simply being like, you know what? We don't really have a plan for dinner. I don't feel like cooking, or the wife doesn't feel like cooking. Let's just go to a restaurant tonight and hang out there. And you can't. So it's kind of like a weird situation, because I used to do the wing night once a week, because why not? And I can't now. And it feels really weird. And before, like I said, this week-ish, I was fine with it. I was like, I really like being cooped up here because I get more game time. I get more Twitch time. Yep. I get more of the things that I want to do time. And then all of a sudden, I don't know why it hit me, but I went, I really want to just leave. I just want to go somewhere. I don't even care where it is. I'm like, I want to go somewhere. It doesn't even matter. Like, I'll go.
So on Sunday, I did go for a drive, about an hour north. So we picked up donuts from our vegan donut place in Maine.
Okay.
And they were doing an Easter special, buy a dozen. They're like Easter flavors. I'm doing air quotes here because they're not. I don't know what Easter tastes like, but
I think that, was it just colored, like pastel-y colors? Because
Easter
they had
colors a funfetti one.
Okay.
Cherry flavored. I don't know. Yeah, I guess a little bit colored and just slightly different than their normal.
Sure.
Like I said, the funfetti in there. But yeah. So we drove there. They walked out to our car and then we left. So it wasn't anything crazy, but we drove the coast so we could look at the ocean.
And we can't stop, but we can look.
Well, yeah, all the parking. They had no parking signs. Every single thing you passed, even the little pull-offs to look at the rocks. You couldn't stop anywhere. There was cops probably every couple miles.
Well, it's because, you know why we have to. We have to have the cops every couple miles like that to monitor those, I guess, hot zones of congregation, if you will, just because there's so many people that just don't listen. They don't even care, So
yeah, the sidewalk wasn't closed, and the whole sidewalk was just people going for walks.
Yep.
It was quite a few people walking. It wasn't super crowded, but it was enough people that I was kind of like, we're almost defeating the purpose here.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because it's just going to make everything last a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But I understand cabin fever. Like I said, I'm starting to have a little bit of it, and I was fine for a really long time. But it's one of those things where you have to be like, no, there's something bigger than me that this has to happen for,
Do you think you'd be better or worse if you didn't also have to work during this time? Because I know a lot of people basically in a way have this time off.
I can't really say. I'll be honest. The only reason I can't say is because I used to work from home. I worked from home exclusively for like 5 years straight. So this is not foreign to me to have to be in the same area. The only weird thing is like, I think it's a mental like block for me, because before I didn't have to leave because I was working from home, but I also could if I wanted to. Like it was perfectly fine. All the restaurants are open. Everything's open. Like if I wanted to leave, I could just be like, oh, well, I'm going to go and I'm going to do that, whatever it may be. Now it's like, well, I can't. No restaurants are open. Like I'm not supposed to be out. So it's like a mental thing where it's almost like, some people will say that the things that are forbidden from you are the things that you want to do the most. And
for sure,
even though those things aren't necessarily forbidden right now, they kind of are. And it makes me want to do them more. I'm like, I never really cared about leaving the house, but now I care a lot. I really want to leave the house for some reason.
The rebel in you.
Right. I'm like, I just got to get out of here. I don't know what's happening, you know?
Maybe get like a treadmill and put it in the backyard and just like pretend like you're walking somewhere.
Just be like, oh, it's good. It's good. The Peloton all of a sudden sells a bunch of those bikes because, they have the big screen on there that like lets you ride through. I still want one of them, but only because like I don't really enjoy working out per se, but like I think I can get into that where you're just like riding a bike and it feels like you're going places because you're like kind of watching the TV and you're exploring in a way. I don't know. I still want one. They're really pricey though.
They're very expensive. That's the only reason I didn't do it. Like I kind of want to take my bike and put the back pegs up on like cinder blocks.
Oh, so that's from what's the movie with Owen Wilson? He does that in the movie. He's like the terrible friend that like bums. He sleeps on the couch in these people's. Oh, what movie is it?
Best Man or something like that.
Something like yeah. Where
is it Paul Rudd or whatever?
I'm pretty sure it's Paul Rudd. Yeah. And like,
it's about him being like the best man or whatever to the wedding.
Yeah, and he puts like he's got I call it a Lance Armstrong bike, but it's just like one of those street bikes with the super thin tires or whatever. And he puts it up on that thing, and he's doing just watching the television riding the bike. But not that one of those bikes is going to be that much cheaper than a Peloton. But I guess you get a double benefit because then you can ride it on the streets.
Right.
Yeah. So
I mean, I already have a bicycle. I'll just put it on cinder blocks.
There you go.
And I'll just pedal away. I don't know about the resistance, but
Well, they make the little resistance wheels, so you put it in like this little contraption that has resistance on the wheels, so that you can. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're just spinning the wheel on the back of it, it would have zero resistance whatsoever. I would only allow that if you put the playing card clipped onto the like frame with a clothespin. So it made the motorcycle sound. Did you do that as a kid?
We did the you stick the can or the bottle or whatever in the tire.
Yep, yeah, you run it over and then it spins around and hits like the frame again and just yep. I was always the playing card clipped on with a clothespin. And you had to fold half of the playing card over and then you clip it on with a clothespin. And then it would do the same thing because it'd go through the spokes, and then the faster you go, the louder it gets. And yeah, that was my method most of the time.
We're showing our age a little bit here.
People are like, what? What are you talking about? No.
What's a clothespin? No.
Right, seriously. Yeah. Is that something that, is that like a paper clip? What? I mean, technically, I guess it kind of is. That's back in the day.
Bag clip or whatever.
Yeah, actually, that's the closest thing we have nowadays to a clothespin would be a bag clip. Yeah, it was just you hang your clothes on this giant line so that they air dry.
Yeah,
that's
save electricity.
And you pin it on it, or well, you clip it on there so that it didn't blow away and fly off. Oh man, yeah, we are showing our age a little bit, aren't we?
just a little bit, yeah.
So what have you been playing this week? I know realistically we can only play games at this point, so what have you been playing?
Yeah, let's see. I played Destiny, of course. Still not a ton, but I did play. I played Animal Crossing daily. That damn bunny is finally gone, so we're all excited about that.
Nice.
For the Easter bunny in game left on Sunday. So
okay.
and he was annoying for most of us. So we're happy about that.
How long was he around? Was he there for?
He was 12 days. 12 days.
Okay.
So basically, there were eggs, six different types of eggs, and like all the normal stuff you'd do. Sometimes instead were an egg. So you'd go fishing and you want to catch a fish, and you reel it in, and it's an egg.
Oh, oh man. Ew.
And that gets old real fast.
Yeah.
So 12 days of fighting eggs to get the stuff you actually are trying to accomplish.
Okay.
We're all pretty happy he's gone. Well, the majority.
Yeah. I can imagine.
Played a little more Valorant.
Okay.
And then there was one other game. Oh, I started up the Division 2.
Oh, you did? So
I did.
We were talking about the potential of us actually getting a team together and playing through the expansion stuff. I'm interested.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something new to play, whether it's a first person or not a first person, but a single player game versus a multiplayer game. But I'm just kind of, I mean, Call of Duty, I'm getting a little bit on the side of like, I'm really irritated with some of the cheap stuff that people have figured out in Warzone now. And I'm just like, I got to move to something else for a while to like cool my head down in a way. But
I've heard about the roof campers.
Roof campers are bad. Rocket launchers are terrible. Well, specifically RPGs are really bad right now because, like, an RPG, it's a rocket propelled grenade, but it's more accurate than sniper rifles. Like, you just put the little, your iron sights on it, and wherever your iron sight is, it will hit. It doesn't matter if it's across the map or if it's real close to you. It will hit all the way across. So, like. And then here's another irritating thing is like you don't really hear it or see it coming. All of a sudden you just blow up and you're like, what's that? So,
why'd I blow up?
Yeah, like why? And then you see the kill cam and it's this rocket that flew 400 meters and you're like, why did that hit me ever? But, and then there's the vehicle thing. There's a lot of things right now that are kind of irritating in there,
Oh, for sure. There's been cheaters in like every game. I feel like more so lately than ever before too. Like I know COD's been dealing with it. Destiny 2's having a load of trouble with it.
Yep.
Even Valorant that talked so highly about their anti-cheat. I've already heard about some people cheating, and so.
Oh yeah. It's been actually real bad lately. Every single tweet that I see of them banning cheaters is like, oh, we banned 70,000 people, and then you're like, but it's a free game, so they just create new accounts and keep going.
I think that's one of the bigger problems. Like when you have $60 games, you don't want to get banned. And if you get banned once, you're probably not making a second account. And if you do, you're not cheating again because unless you're rich,
Yeah, unless you're like, I don't know, this $60, whatever. And if you are one of those type of people, we are looking for a sponsor. I'm just saying.
Yeah, sponsor the show instead of cheating. Right. All right? Stop cheating. Sponsor us.
So speaking of Valorant, I tried it again because I know some of my homework was to try it again, and I didn't take the advice.
Your review.
I didn't take the advice of actually teaming up with people because you did say it was better when you have a full squad. And most of the time when I start up Valorant, it's just like at lunch or something like that where I'm like, I know this is weird because you said the games take like forever, but I'll start it up and play a couple rounds and then kind of turn it off. But I found myself a little bit on the bored side. I don't know if it was because of the lack of team, so I didn't really have anyone to talk to. I was just listening to other people tell me what to do, essentially, which was kind of boring because whoever wants to just be like, oh, I'm going to play this game, and someone else is going to just be like, hey, go over there, hey, go over here, hey, do this, hey, do that. And you're like, am I playing or am I just being your bot, if you will?
Yes,
so
servant.
I did find myself being bored, and I turned it off, and again, I turned on Call of Duty because Call of Duty I'm really enjoying right now. And I haven't enjoyed Call of Duty in a while, and I feel like it's probably going to go that way again here pretty soon. But
you've been playing Call of Duty with friends mostly, right?
Yeah, so for the most part, which we talked about last episode, would you rather play with friends? It's really interesting because I feel like gaming, especially now, is supposed to be played with friends. That's kind of like, I mean, in the absence
it's our social engagement, as we said.
Right.
We're not social distancing. We're playing games with each other.
Right. So in the absence of being able to just go hang out with the people that are local to me, I hang out with my gaming friends on the internet, and that's what I do on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, every single day.
All the days.
Right, all of the days. So I haven't been playing a lot of things alone. So maybe that's part of the reason I got so bored with Valorant, is just because I've been with people so much recently that it felt kind of odd to be playing alone for a while.
Yeah, it's not a story game. So like, if you're going to go play a game alone, at least if it has like a rich story, you're kind of like watching like a movie by yourself instead almost. I mean, you're not, but it's got that story to it, where a multiplayer, just like arena shooter or whatever you want to call it, by yourself, I could see being boring. It is a slow-paced game overall anyway, like
That's true.
You even watch it and everybody's peeking corners real slow and then kind of like moving together real slow. I mean, you can't even run. There is no run in the game.
That does take a little bit of adjustment. So since, like I said, I've been playing so much Call of Duty. Call of Duty is literally, if you're not running, you're doing it wrong.
You got sniped.
Right. So I'm running constantly in Call of Duty, and then I switch to literally the polar opposite style of shooter. And you kind of go, I don't know. Am I having fun right now? I don't know.
Well, all right. Let's pick a day. We're getting a 5 stack, and we're going in, and we're going to get a true review from you one of these days. I will say I'm not going to play a ton. It's not going to be my game either. It is slow.
You still don't
but
feel...
I enjoy it. I'll play it.
Okay. So you still don't feel like the Valorant, I keep saying it different every single time I say it, but you don't feel like it's going to be one of your main games. It's just going to be like, hey, I got a squad over here, and I don't on Destiny, per se, maybe. I'll go over there and play since I have a squad.
It's always tougher for me, at least, if a game is just PvP and it's like one kind of dry mode, if you will. It's like just kills or whatever.
Okay.
I can only do it for so many hours in a day, week, whatever, before I'm like, I need to do something different.
You need variety. So Destiny actually works for you because you got the Crucible, and then you can do the grinding in the Nightfalls
Gambit,
and the normal
PvE, whatever.
Yeah. Honestly speaking, I'm more of a PvE type player, but there's not a lot of really, 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 really top tier PvE games that have grabbed my attention. I know there's a bunch of them out there, but for the most part, like, even in Destiny, I found myself in the PvE side of it being like, well, I mean, I literally did the same 3 things last night. What the, like, kind of bored.
Yeah. A lot of games are very, if you're not playing with friends, once again, you're kind of just, now that, I know a lot of Destiny players that play alone, they enjoy it, but I think the people who have the friends, I mean, they'll play double the amount of hours because I've literally just sat in the tower for an hour and a half, probably, talking with my friends, kicking the ball around the tower. And there goes the time, like, and it's like an hour and a half go by, and you're like, well, we should probably load something up.
We should probably actually get some XP for this evening instead of just, right?
It's like the old days of calling somebody on the phone just to talk, but like, you leave the game on just so you didn't just call them to talk. You're playing a game.
I mean, essentially, you're right. Playing in a group of friends is kind of like you're just all hanging out together. You just have this other thing that you can do. Like,
right.
That's a pretty accurate review of the situation, because even back in the day when, all I had was a line LAN in my bedroom, or landline. Line land? Did I just say line land? I think I
don't
did.
know what that is.
Anyway,
I think you did.
A landline where I didn't have a cell phone. I got a landline for Christmas, and like I would sit on the phone with my buddies. That was our party chat, was calling each other on the phone, talking and playing GoldenEye together. Being like, oh man, I wish you could have seen what I just did. But you can't. Now, all of this stuff comes together.
I don't know if I ever did that with phones, like playing a game separately.
Really?
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I don't think I did.
Yeah, I definitely did. Like, that was the old party chat, was just when 3-way calling became a thing. Oh, yeah. Now,
ooh, yeah, I used to 3-way call.
Now,
I used to be on the phone a lot.
Now, all of a sudden, you're in Mario Kart, and you're like, okay, everyone picks the same track. Okay, who's got the best time trial?
Ooh, that's actually a good one.
Yep.
I like that.
Yep. Or we'd all try to be unlocking the, because invincibility in GoldenEye, you had to get through the facility level underneath a certain time. So it was like just everyone was trying to unlock that specific cheat code or cheat option. And so we'd
Right.
run that for the night and just keep trying to unlock the invincibility mode in GoldenEye and be like, oh, I almost got it. I was like 1 second off. That's really frustrating when you're 1 second off. But
Yeah.
that was old school multiplayer gaming.
You know what's funny? A lot of old school games had those built-in cheats. Like
Yeah.
Tony Hawk, I believe, had a ton of them.
Yep. Well, you unlock
GTA.
them. You unlock them through gameplay too, for
Yeah.
a lot of games. So in the trophies have kind of replaced that nowadays. But back in the day, you're like, oh, there's a cheat portion of the menu. Oh, how do I unlock all these cheats? And then you're like, oh, let's go on AOL with my free minutes that I got from that disc that came in the mail. And let's research how to unlock these things. And then you print them out because you only have so many minutes on the internet. And if someone picks up the phone, you're like, no, I almost had the site loaded.
Cheat Code Central. That was my website.
Remember Game Sharks?
Yeah.
The many,
Yep.
many different iterations of Game Sharks that would just... It was literally a cheat bot in a cartridge. It was...
You'd put the cartridge in the Game Shark and then the Game Shark in your console,
Yep.
like with the game in it, and you could kind of hack the game. I think it was just basically messing with the firmware or whatever, the software of the game, right?
I'd have to look it up, but I think it was messing with like the signals being sent to the actual cartridge. They
Right.
figured out how to mess it up enough to where like things, invincibility or infinite ammo, or like when you shoot your gun, it didn't register as a gunshot for some reason, like all kinds of weird stuff like that. Those were cool.
Yeah, that's funny.
I
They
remember
were.
those. I'm remembering so you have the Game Shark and then you have the book that came with it. And you'd have to like
that told
look up
you-
your game and you're like, okay, I want infinite ammo, so I got to type in that code into the Game Shark.
Yeah,
And
it
then
was like
start
a string
the
of
game.
letters or whatever
Yeah.
to do it.
Oh man. Do you by chance remember when saved games were locked behind strings of letters like that? So you'd play a game and then it'd be like, okay, to get to this point in the future, you type in this code and it brings you to this spot. You didn't have your score, you didn't have anything, you just got to that spot. And that's it.
You know what's funny? I would have never remembered that time unless you just said it, but I do now.
Yep. So
I think Star Wars for Super Nintendo had it, and I used to play that a lot.
So Echo the Dolphin for Game Gear. Remember the old Game Gear?
Ooh.
Everyone loved the Game Gear because it had a lit screen you could play underneath the covers or in the dark or whatever. I had Echo the
Never
Dolphin.
had one.
And I was 100% determined to find one of these codes. So I'd sit in that like little code entry screen for hours just trying to be like, I want to type a code that gets to a level. I got one. I actually got one. And it was the last level in the game, and it was the easiest level I've ever played in my life. Like you fight this little circle like alien type thing underwater, and I beat it, and I was like, that was the last level of the game. And I always had the code for the last level of the game, and the OG Echo the Dolphin for Game Gear. And it was a
That's
fabulous
awesome.
moment
I'm trying
for
to
me.
remember what that's called.
It was
You just like
like
what do they call that when you just keep putting codes in? You're trying to.
they call it a brute force
Uh-huh.
attack in computers
Yeah, there you go.
nowadays.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically I just kept switching numbers and hitting random things until once I was like, oh my god, it loaded. What am I doing?
You did it.
Oh my god, I did it. And then I wrote it down, and then I always had the basically get to the end of the game and beat the last guy code.
Did you ever play all the other levels?
No, never once. Back in the day, I was terrible at video games, okay? I was terrible.
Me too.
I was-
Me too.
Like, and that's when games were harder than they are now. So like, I don't know if I'm still terrible at games. Games are just easier potentially, because back in the day, I could never beat Contra even with 99 lives. I'm like, wow, I got to level 2. Sweet. What? Nowadays,
Yeah,
I'm like,
we should go back and play all those old games and see if we're better.
right, because nowadays, like, almost every game has no consequence for dying now. Have you noticed that? It's barely a so the biggest
Minus like Dark
consequence.
Souls and stuff, right?
Yeah, instead of those are the permadeath ones, right? Where you have to start over again.
Not dark. I mean, I think there's different modes, but they
Okay.
even their regular mode that doesn't do that. It's like it's quite punishing.
Okay. Because, like, I was playing Ghost Recon, and I was sitting there, and I would die. But here's the thing about Ghost Recon that drove me nuts. So if I sprint in, it's a military shooter, tactical shooter,
Yep.
as they want to call it. You sprint in, get the chest or whatever that you're going for, and if you die, You still have the thing that you just collected. It's not like it went back to like before you collected it. So you could just sprint in, get the thing you wanted, and then die, and then you're like, well, it doesn't even matter because I got it anyways. Like
I accomplished what I was there for.
right.
I
So
don't even have to kill anybody.
and then so half the time in like Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I would just take a helicopter, jump out of the helicopter, parachute on top of the box that I wanted, collect it, and then just fight my way out. And if I died, who cared? You know, like whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
You've accomplished your mission. That's funny.
It's essentially like a Lego game where you just respawn in the same spot with all the enemies dead that you killed anyways. Just like, I'm back. I don't
I
know.
never played the Lego games.
Games are not hard anymore. Bring back the difficult games, please. Because there's some
Like I
reward
said, they
there.
had some.
Yeah, Bloodborne, I think, is one of the ones that's like permadeath in
Dark
one of the
Souls,
modes.
Bloodborne. Sure, there's more.
Yeah, probably. Apparently, I don't play any of them because every game I play is a third-person or first-person shooter where I'm like, well,
Yeah, same.
like in Call of Duty, if you get killed, you're like, well, I'm 10 feet behind where I was, so I guess I'm okay. Whatever.
I was definitely worse back then though, because like I've gone back and revisited some of the old Zeldas,
Okay.
and I used to get stuck on like, you know, the simplest dungeons nowadays. Like to me, they're simple just because I don't know. I'm smarter, I guess. You know, hopefully I learned some stuff in the past 20 years or whatever.
Right.
But you know, like Ocarina of Time, I remember being stuck at some of these dungeons that I don't find overly difficult now.
Okay.
So I do think some of it's just age.
Well, here's another thing. As games progressed, they got with good controls, games get easier as well. Because, for instance,
Yeah,
you have a Nintendo Switch, right?
I do.
So they have the Aladdin and Lion King game pair that you can buy.
Okay.
And those were some of my wife's favorite games back in the day, right?
They were hard.
And she was playing them and she's like, I can't beat this level. Can you? And I was like, no, God, no. Because the controls, even with the new console and everything, the controls are still like kind of janky to where like
Right.
it's literally one pixel that you can land on. And it's got to be pixel perfect every single time. And I'm like, no, I can't play that. I would just get frustrated beyond belief.
I think in games like that, they were so limited in hardware for one, and
Yep.
then just ideas for two, because you know it was new making games and trying to like make it difficult for the player enough that they were challenged. So you had to do stuff like that where it was like such a perfectly timed jump.
Yeah.
And we still have games like that, but like you said, most of the time it's not quite that bad. It's
Remember the
more
way
like
to-
thinking puzzles.
I mean, get the Mario, the top of the Mario flag. You were like, I have to make sure my toe is the only thing on that 2-brick platform, and then I have to
Yep.
run across and jump, and ittle be perfect. And you knew that every
Exactly.
single time. You knew that. You're like, oh, wait, hold on, back up. Okay, my toe's the only thing there. Now we can go.
Right.
It was just one of those. Games were hard back then, but I think you're right. I think it was more because of the limitations and the ideas were different, and just game developing in general was way different. And what did they have?
Yeah.
16 by 16 pixels to work with. It's not like they could do what we have now in graphics wise too. So they're limited not only by ideas and hardware, but well, I guess that's technically hardware, but like screen real estate. What are you gonna do? You're like,
Yeah, they were tiny. I mean, the Game Boy, the original Game Boy, like what could you fit on that
oh
screen?
man, that screen was so terrible too. But we all accepted it. We're like, oh, these black boxes as all the graphics with this like puke green,
Yellow.
weird yellow colored background. We're like, oh, this is great. This is fabulous. You know, that's why
I can play in the car.
that's why it became the Tetris machine, right? Because like that's all Tetris is a bunch of blocks.
That's true.
You know,
I used to play a Bugs Bunny game I really liked on the Game Boy.
really.
You'd like collect carrots and run away from, I don't know, you know, Elmer Fudd and all those guys.
Sure. That's funny.
But
Did you always had to take the left at Albuquerque?
oh yeah, you know it.
That's oh man. So since we're in the gaming mode right now, I did see a rumor, well, not really a rumor, it was kind of confirmed that GTA
Twitter?
6 is being worked on.
Yeah.
Do you like GTA?
I started playing GTA at I think 4.
Okay.
And I've played almost everyone since then, besides some of the weird like spin-offs.
You've never played like GTA 1 where it was like the top down and
Nope.
it's actually a pretty fun game, and if you go back and play it, because there's some ROMs and stuff like that, of course, out there, you can see how like the original game became what it is today. Because like it still has its heart. It's not like one of those games that started in that, top-down pixel mode that kind of lost its identity over the time and it became something different. It still has its essentials in there. It's really cool. I played it once on an emulator, of course, and it's really cool. I love GTA only because like the whole goal behind GTA is to be the trashiest human you could possibly be.
You get to be the opposite of you in real life.
Yeah,
maybe.
like you the whole goal is to be the worst criminal on the map. Like even the stories.
Yeah, beating up grandmas and
right.
going to strip clubs and whatever else. Yeah.
Oh man, remember when the big controversy came because you could have relations with a stripper and then run her over and take your money back?
What's funny is as I've gotten older, I actually like GTA less and less. Like I think it was almost one of those games that like I knew I shouldn't be like playing that type of game because I was young.
Okay.
That was like exciting, Like,
okay.
Watching South Park. I mean, I still like South Park, but as a kid, like watching South Park was even better, even though you didn't know even the jokes. You didn't understand anything.
You had no idea, but you're like, oh, this is naughty. I'm not supposed to be watching this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I kind of feel like GTA is a little bit in that boat.
Okay.
Like, I played the newest one. Was that 5? I played the whole story.
Okay.
I finished the entire story. I enjoyed the story, but like when I was done with the story, I was done with the game. Where I remember Vice City, like spending days probably just beating up people in the streets and trying to get 5 stars. And
I'm pretty certain until I was about 13 years old, I never completed a Grand Theft Auto. I don't even know, like, thinking back, I don't even know if I knew there was a story behind it. I was like, oh, you're in this open city and you just do whatever the hell you want. Cool. I'm good. I could just create crime all over the place and then I just try to escape the cops. That's the game, right? That's all we do? No?
I mean, that was fun. I had a ton of fun doing that.
Right. And
spawning tanks with the cheat codes and
just
unlimited
drops
ammo
out of the
and all
air.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I really like the story of GTA 5. I think they did a good job writing it, and like the characters are pretty fleshed out. But
some of them are definitely characters. We'll say that.
Oh,
but...
yeah. Well, like Trevor, like he's one of the main characters in the game, and he's one of the most over-the-top characters I've ever had to be. Now, interestingly enough, they put you in his shoes and they make you be him. But for the most part, other games make that really, really crazy person someone you interact with, not someone that you play. Have you noticed that?
Like the Far Cry's.
Yeah. Like the Far Cry's, there's always that crazy antagonist out there, but you're not playing them. You're fighting them. You're trying to stop them. Whereas GTA is like, no, you be as crazy as you possibly can. Please, just do it. It's kind of an interesting
thing, though.
Yeah.
A little bit.
That's very true, yeah. Now, I haven't played Red Dead, so I can't even place why, but is Red Dead like, well, you're criminals in Red Dead too, right?
I've never played the first Red Dead. I hear it's like one of the best games ever. I own the second one. Okay. I've only played 20 minutes of the story.
What?
And I played like maybe 2 hours of the online, and I didn't dislike it. I don't know why I haven't ventured forth.
Interesting. I did hear that game's pretty meh. Like the story is so slow that it almost doesn't like pull you in and grab you to be interesting enough. So maybe that's why. Did you find it to be boring?
You had to ride this horse through like some snow really slow because it's snowing, and like you don't want to overexert your horse or it starts to die. So like that was kind of the beginning, and that was like probably a little off-putting.
I guess, yeah, that sounds quite off-putting because in the beginning of the game, you kind of want to be hooked. Walking a horse through the snow slowly is not exactly going to hook you.
You don't want to do that every day, all the time?
No, I don't want to do that at all. Like, it wasn't Red Dead. They didn't have well, you didn't play it a lot, but I hear they didn't even have fast travel. So you literally had to.
I think they do.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I know there's a train too that you can like ride around town.
Okay, so
your horse.
No fast travel, but.
No, I felt like there was fast travel, but I honestly, I didn't play enough, so my opinion doesn't matter. It's probably no fast travel. I'm probably wrong.
Yeah. Well,
But
hopefully
it
GTA
seemed cool.
6. Well, since you're not really a GTA player, what would pull
Well,
you in?
I played them all. Come on.
Well, you played them all, but
yeah.
what would pull you into GTA 6? Do you think?
That's a good question. I mean, my favorite thing to do in all the GTAs was probably in San Andreas when the bicycle was first introduced. I loved riding that BMX bike like all over town. I
Now-
used to just like hit the jumps,
Yep.
like try to do tricks. Like,
Well, they
I
had
loved
skate
that
parks
thing.
too. So they had actual
Yeah,
skate parks that
that
you could
too.
go to, and you could basically play. Do you remember Dave Mira's BMX?
Dave Mira, yes.
You could basically
Yep.
play Dave Mira's BMX in GTA.
Tony Hawk of BMX.
And then if someone got in your way, instead of just falling off your bike and getting back on, you shot them
you shot them, killed them, took their money. Yeah.
and their bike.
It was the best Dave Mira game, GTA San Andreas. But so I really liked that. I don't know why. It was just fun for me. I don't know what would bring me back. I guess I'd probably still play the story again. I always will get brought back if a game is co-op.
Yeah.
If you take any decent game and you make it co-op, there's like
it's 100%
double
better.
the chance I'm gonna play it.
Yeah. Well, because then again, like we were talking about, you have a squad, you have people to pull you
Yeah.
in, and it's just games are they. I feel like games were really meant to be played together. They just were. Even though yes,
I
there's
agree.
fabulous single player stories, but let's
Amazing.
think about Destiny 2's story. Destiny 2's story wasn't exactly stellar, but the fact that you got to play through it with people, with your friends, was kind of cool. Made it better.
It's a great point because until probably 2 years ago, if you asked me at any point, what's your favorite game, I would have answered, immediately. I would have just said Zelda, and I would have picked whatever Zelda I felt in the moment, most likely Link to the Past. But
Sure.
I would have just ratted off a Zelda. And recently, if you asked me, I would question myself. Zelda's probably still there, but Destiny, because I've spent so much time with friends, I've made friends, I've spent thousands of hours playing with friends that I'm just like, that's almost my answer now
Yeah.
because of that. Not the game. The game helps. It gives
That's-
us something to do while we talk, but the game's not better than a Zelda if I'm really if I had to sit alone and play either of them, I'm playing a Zelda.
Yeah. That's an interesting thing that you brought up there, because a frequent question that you get from gamers, just people trying to kind of get to know you a little bit, right? And if you say, "Oh, I'm a gamer," they instantly go, "Oh, what's your favorite game ever?" And then I have that same
Candy
struggle.
Crush.
Good God. End stream, defriend. So I have the same problem because instantly in my head I go, it has to be GoldenEye. Now GoldenEye does have the little bit of multiplayer with it, but instantly in my head for some reason I always go GoldenEye. And it's because I remember the sleepovers, I remember the moments I had with friends that made the game so much closer to my childhood in a way. Like playing by yourself, yeah, I like Rogue Squadron, I like Zeldas, I like a lot of these single player experiences, but nothing really made my childhood like having friends over playing GoldenEye back in the day, you know?
GoldenEye, Mario Kart, Super Smash Brothers.
Even Diddy Kong Racing was awesome because you had the
Oh,
planes
yes.
and the hover tubes or whatever, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And now I'm starting to question it because I'm like, well, I'm in the same boat where I go, well, now I'm having different experiences. But if I was to say my favorite game between the ages of 8 and 15, GoldenEye, without a doubt, just because of that experience that I had, right? But if I was
Right.
to go from 15 on, I'm like, wow. Or like from 8 throughout my entire life, I'm like, wow, it's really hard to actually say what my favorite game is. And honestly, based on the experiences and the, I guess, camaraderie that I had with people, I might even have to say something like Division 1. I played
Wow.
so much Division 1 with my buddies, and we were all like we played the beta, we played the main game, and it was literally an every night thing where we'd all get online and we'd play a little bit of the story, and then we'd go into the dark zone and mess with people. And it was just
Division had a decent story. I played a ton of it originally as well. For me, I really liked the builds. I didn't care for the story myself, but like
I like the story only because it was like, I mean, if coronavirus was called the dollar flu,
I was gonna say today's, yeah.
like it's kind of weird, but And like, I didn't like Destiny, or oh man, I said I didn't like Division 2 story at all. I was not a fan of Division 2 story, but I want to go back and play Division 2 now because they're finishing the story from Division 1.
Yeah, that's what the DLC is.
The DLC is killing Keener, and the whole thing we wanted to do in Division 2 was kill Keener, and then when Keener wasn't even really like part of it, realistically, you're like, what? No, we're doing the wrong thing. We should be killing this dude that was the entire game of Division 1, and then he escapes, and you're like, what? What is going on here? And now I actually want to go back and play Division. We've even talked about it in C2, where we might actually go back and play it.
Yeah, like I said, I bought it a couple days ago. Yesterday. I bought it yesterday.
You bought the expansion?
Downloaded it. Yes.
Okay.
And I loaded in. We did about a quarter of it.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to subscribe. I'm gonna subscribe to Uplay Plus for it, since you'll also get a bunch of other games too. So I'm gonna just subscribe to Uplay Plus for a month or two.
That's probably smart, because I think you could beat it in a week if I'm correctly assessing the story here.
I don't. It is an expansion, so it's not going to be as long as the main story of Division 2. Which the main story of Division 2, let's be honest, I mean, it was pretty short. Like, if you
I don't remember what happened.
See, if you were a really good Division player, like, because I was coming off of Division 1, and my team was good. So when we got Division 2, just became easy for us because we were so good at Division 1 and we had just played a bunch of it that Division 2 we just flew through. I think I beat that less than a week, the whole story. And then we were just
I
Sherpa.
think the DLC you could do in a day if you really wanted.
Okay. Well, I mean,
there's 4. It's like 4 bosses, and then once you kill the 4 bosses, it seems like, I don't know this for sure, but you get to access fighting. Would you say Keener or whatever?
Yeah. And it's back in New York
basically.
And all that. Like, yeah, New York was a better place than DC was cool. But New York was the better location. It just was. And I don't know if that's coming from nostalgia, because I didn't really love the story in DC. I didn't really care for the endgame stuff they put in Division 2. So maybe it was just the nostalgia factor from New York because I spent so much time there and I really, really did love Division 1. Maybe it's that, but yeah, I'm excited to go back in. So don't ditch me too much. I got to jump in.
I'll try not to. Maybe I'll still play even after I finish the story, but you just kind of brought up an interesting point for me is like, I think a lot of these multiplayer games that are really good, you know, like Division, when I first hopped in, I was obsessed. I played 70 hours or something, you know, like first week, who knows, you know, like I was just grinding it. And you get to the end game and it was so bad.
Oh, Division 1
tank fight.
Ugh. Wait, are you talking about Division 1?
Division 1, that first raid that came out.
Oh my god, that was terrible.
You fought like a tank thing in a room that couldn't move. It was so boring, and the only reason it was difficult is because it just like flooded you with enemies.
Yeah, well, that's kind of Division's MO in general. But yeah, that's just garbage content, you know. It's just we're just gonna throw so many enemies at you that you just have to have the tank builds. And that's why tank builds became the thing, because you're like, oh, I can beat these incursions, they called them, instead of raids.
Right. That's right, incursion. I couldn't remember the name.
Yeah.
But I think that's the biggest problem with all these like really fun, cooperative, like kind of MMO-y games that are coming out is like they have a hard time with endgame. I mean, it's a big Destiny thing. You know, they've had trouble with endgame multiple times in their franchise. Like I said, it killed. In my opinion, the second that came out in Division, a lot of people left.
Yep.
I know it got better later, but
it did. When the Underground came out, when Survival Mode came out, there was a couple of expansions that came out for. Yeah, right. It's literally just in the snow and in New York.
Yeah.
But like those were really, really good expansions, but they also came with things for the main game as well. So like the main game got better, and then you also had this extra mode that was awesome as well. So by the end of Division 1's lifespan, it was the game it should have been, realistically. And then,
but people like me never even went back. I bought the whole bundle that had all the. Technically, I had all the expansions. I owned them all.
Yep.
And
never played.
I never went back. I think I played for like another hour later, just to like see what was going on, but I was so far like out of the loop that I didn't even know what to do.
You're learning a new game.
The game was over for me.
Yeah, you literally have to relearn the game again. And I guess the problem between the transition from Division 1 to Division 2 for me was like Division 1 at the end of its lifespan was so good. And then they didn't take all of the things from Division 1 and just be like, oh, we're going to build on the story and keep going. And I know this is going to hit close to home because of Destiny 1 and 2.
Maybe it's a D2 thing.
Yeah, maybe any game that is D2 is just like...
Was Diablo 2 anything like this? Or?
That I don't know, but I'll text my buddy who's a Diablo fan and be like, hey man, did Diablo 2 suck? And he's like, yes, totally. I don't know why they didn't take Diablo 1 stuff and just move it in. Oh,
because
man.
You literally just said the same thing. It's like they learned so much throughout the creation of the first one that you were like so amped for the second one. You're like, this has to be perfect.
It's gonna be
already
amazing.
Know what they're doing. They've got this. And then they come out with the second one and they like try too many new things. I've heard through the grapevine for Destiny at least that it was kind of because it was two different teams. So there's the team that builds the game, and then there's the team that kind of ramps it up after that, and like, you know, I don't know if it's like 2, 3, 4 layers of teams that kind of do this. But, so by the time the first game is good, the team that made Destiny 1 good aren't the team working on Destiny 2. They've been working on Destiny 1.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
The original team is coming to the new game and making it the same as the original when it wasn't good.
And then let's say that 4th tier team is like, come on, what the hell?
Yeah. Now, like I said, I mean, I played all of the first Destiny. I was never bored. I wasn't one of those people anyway, so I'm not quite saying that, but like, you know, it is kind of funny that would make sense as far as them building. You don't really think of people making the game when you think of the game. You just think of the game.
You think of the progression of the game itself. You're not thinking of...
Right.
I mean, the tiered teams like that, that makes a lot of sense why there would be such a disconnect on these AAA games. Like, it's different for a smaller game, like an indie game studio or someone that has a smaller team.
10 people or whatever,
That team is constantly working on all of this stuff. But normally those games, I think you and I talked about it, where like, I kind of wish games would just continue. Like, we're at the point now where like our graphics are pretty much as good as they're gonna be for the next couple of years until something really crazy happens.
That our whole life.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing we have going for us right now is ray tracing, really.
Right.
But even that, like, I have a RTX card and I never run ray tracing because it just tanks your frame rate. So
yeah, but do you remember when N64 came out and we were all like, oh, 3D, this is amazing. It's never going to get better than this. This is it. This is the end.
I mean, there are times where I struggle to tell the difference in a good cutscene. I'm like, is this filmed?
That's true. Some of the cutscenes are already amazing, but that's not gameplay. And once gameplay gets the cutscene, then we're there. Then I'll be with you and be like, it's not going to get better. What's it going to be better than real life?
Yeah, stop making sequels. Just continue building on this thing and keep going, right? Just give me better frame rates once in a while. Every single update, give me 20 more frames and I'll be good. Whatever.
But, I mean, even with that, like, I don't know about you, but I'm not always the realistic game guy anyway. Like, I would be sad if everything became just looking like real life. Like, I like my cartoony...
It actually,
stuff.
I would say it depends. It depends on the feel of the game. So, for instance, I'm going to have a hard time with Valorant only because for shooters, most of the time, I want realistic weapons from today. I want military-style shooters. I want real things that are in the world now. No superpowers, anything like that. So, I'm going to struggle with Valorant a little bit just because, like, that's always been my thing, is like a realistic military shooter.
So you're not a fan of like Borderlands?
I mean
Destiny.
They're fun, and like I have a special place in my heart for Halo, but Halo was like, yes, this is a really cool game, but it's like, okay, I'm gonna play through the story and then I'll kind of be done with it. Halo 2 was the last time I played multiplayer seriously in a Halo game, and like I will try every single Call of Duty at least once, and I will see if it's any good. Well, that was only recent because the last 4 of them I didn't really love, but Like Call of Duty's my thing. Ghost Recon I love. If they would ever make another Splinter Cell, that would be amazing. It's just
I'm actually quiet over here because I'm so upset that was all you did for Halo. Halo's like, that's my multiplayer as a kid for the most part. I mean, I did the GoldenEye phase, but the original Halo was my sleepovers. I mean, we have a little bit of an age difference between the two of us, but you know, the original Halo was like middle school, like friends sleeping over, playing Halo.
Did you ever do the thing where, because the original Xbox had the network port, right? But it was supposed to be that you plug one side into one Xbox, another side into another Xbox, and you network them together. You can play on two TVs back to back, and you can have 4v4s, right? Did you ever do the thing where you plug it into a computer and then there was this online service? That was the first version.
I've heard about it.
Of online.
Never did it.
I did. I remember it. It was terrible. You want to talk about lag? That was laggy games. But it was the first time that you were like, oh, me and my buddies sitting in this house can play anyone in the world. Anyone. And then you just sign onto this service, and most of the time you couldn't connect to each other because, well, it wasn't supposed to be that way. And it took forever to get a game, but once you got a game and then you won, you're like, we're the best people on the internet. We are so good.
Woo! Nobody's better than us.
No one's better than us. We beat the server number 1. I don't even know what that means. Nowadays, you just how life changes. But I did play a lot of Halo, but not as much as
we did LAN parties.
Yeah.
But not online. You could do 4 Xboxes together. There
was it 4? You could do the Switch, basically?
You could do 2 with just the cord, but they actually sold like a box from Xbox.
I don't remember that.
You could plug all 4 in, and we used to do 3 typically, 3 Xboxes. We'd have 12 people.
Okay.
And we'd all, like, every weekend or every other weekend was like, we're having a Halo LAN party, and we'd all come over to my house, and bags of chips and, Mountain Dews, whatever.
Right.
And
like half of you had to go to someone's house because you're like, this TV weighs 1 million pounds. We all got to bring it over there.
Luckily, we had 2 TVs in that room.
Oh, okay.
So I would bring up one down from my bedroom.
Okay.
And we were pretty much good. If someone wanted a nicer TV, they could bring one. But
what is the
lucked out there.
Smallest screen that you ever played split screen on? The smallest screen.
Oh gosh. I mean, it's smaller than any of the monitors I have now, probably. It was probably like a 20-inch or something, 14-inch. I don't know. When
I was a kid, when I had my N64, we used to play GoldenEye, as we already talked about, at a 13-inch screen. And we were playing 4-player split screen on a screen that's like this big.
How do you even see anything, right?
I don't even know. Like,
if I tried to do that now, I would have a headache.
I'm thinking, like, a 13-inch screen is like the size of one split on my Dell monitor, because we have the same Dell monitor. It's like one of the sections in the bottom corner of this Dell, and you're like, that was split into 4 with terrible, terrible GoldenEye graphics. Like, how did we even know what was going on?
I don't know.
Oh, memories.
I have no idea.
The memories.
I remember yelling, "No screen looking!" across the living room.
And the funny thing is it's impossible. It's impossible not to screen look because your eyes are attracted to motion. So, like, if something happens, you see it. It just happens. And how many times did you saw that they were behind you and you knew it, but you were like, I gotta pretend like I didn't see that so they don't accuse me of screen looking. So you would just die because you're like, no, I don't want to be called out for screen looking, so I'm just gonna let them shoot me in the back of the head, even though I know they're back there.
That's actually funny. Have you ever seen the pictures on like Facebook or something where it's like the kids and they've used like cardboard to split the screens and they each have their own little like
I've seen the one where like they tape the bed sheet to the TV and like they're underneath it playing the game or whatever. Oh, that's good. So do you remember by any chance, the very first online multiplayer game that you've ever played?
It was probably Halo. Probably Halo 3?
Okay.
Halo Reach?
Okay. Mine, SOCOM US Navy SEALs 2. was the one. It had the, remember, because PlayStation, they sold the microphone that you could talk to your AI teammates, and you could be like, move forward behind the building or whatever, and your crosshairs pointing at it so the team moves up there, right? So that was the first game that you were able to chat with people actively on the internet and squad up with people. So that's the first one I can remember. I don't know if it was the actual first multiplayer game I ever played online, but that's the first one that I can legitimately say, yes, I feel like that's the first one. Was that
see, we're both originally console people, so
Yep.
that also plays a factor, because I'm sure there were PC games before that, because, like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how old's...
What, Unreal Tournament and stuff
StarCraft?
like that? I played Unreal
StarCraft?
Tournament, but I never played it online. I just played it in LAN mode, where you connect
Yeah.
to like the person next to you on another PC. That's
Right.
it.
My first one probably was the original StarCraft. But I played with my
Oh.
buddy Mike.
I forgot
And
about those
AOL,
games.
like you said. Doot, 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 you know?
Oh
and you-
man, you're in the middle of a game and you hear hello, 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 and you're like, Mom, no.
Yeah. I
I'm
have like horror
online.
stories of trying to play that game with I think we played like twice. We've tried 20 times, but we only ever got together 2 times, after hours of trying. So we've come a long way, when you have a little lag now. Relax, guys.
I know,
you don't have
like-
to dial up.
You have a tiny bit of lag for like 1 second. You're like, this game sucks. Ugh. This game's servers are terrible. God.
What the heck?
That's,
They need to upgrade their servers, dedicated servers.
man, that's so funny. Thinking back like that is the things that we had to go through back in the day. You're talking about AOL and the dial-up, and you just me brr, brr,
Yeah.
brr, and
Yeah.
just waiting for it to connect, and then you get online and you're like, oh, let's see what this link is. Oh, it's an image. I'll be back.
Yep. Yeah, an image, you could like go to the bathroom and come back.
Yep.
A video, you'd have to take a shower.
Wait, there was
Come back.
there was not like videos back like there was no YouTube, there was nothing. You're like, oh man,
No.
I had a binder full of game guides that I would print off the internet. So like I'm like, oh, this site has a guide on how to pass this Zelda tomb. Print it out, put it in a binder, get through it and be like, oh, it's missing something. There's something missing, and then you have to get back online, and you're like, oh, this person who wrote the article left out a whole section of the tomb, and then you got to find a new one, print it out again, put it in your little binder. Oh man, I remember I had a bookshelf full of like, I'd label the binders for each game for the guides. That was before GameStop. That was before GameStop, and you can get what was the magazine? What's Game Pro or something?
Well, Game Informer?
Oh, was it Game Informer? Okay. I remember.
Game Informer was GameStop's like magazine.
What was there was a strategy guide magazine, right? What was that
Oh,
called?
yeah, I don't remember what it was.
Prima Games?
Yeah, I don't remember.
Is that a thing? Prima Games? Yeah, that's
Prima Games was the guides. Those were the guides.
okay. Yeah, the strategy guides where you're like, Dad, I want to
Yep.
go to Best Buy. Can I get this guide? Can I get this magazine? Oh,
I have a ton of them from all the old Zeldas. Like, I held on to all those guides.
really? Those will be
Yep.
worth some money. Put those in a plastic bag somewhere, man.
I mean, they're not, they're in, I was a kid. They're in that kind of condition.
They're in Cheeto page condition, if you will.
Yeah.
No, you're a
Cheeto
cereal.
pages, yeah.
You're a cereal guy. It's probably sugar
It's
on the
definitely
pages.
cereal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since we're going back into nostalgia town, what was your favorite action figure as a kid? Do you have one?
Ooh.
Do you have
I
one
mean,
that you can call
I
out?
had many.
Or we can
the
even
first
say, what was
one
your
ever.
collection? Your favorite collection? Were you like, oh, I really like Ninja Turtles. I like G.I. Joes. I like X-Men. Did you have a specific?
I was a Ninja Turtle guy, but the first action figure I remember liking, and I didn't even watch this show or anything, was this like 2-headed Godzilla dragon looking thing. If anyone's a Godzilla person, it's like a 2-headed dragon thing.
Okay.
And I loved that toy, and I did not watch Godzilla or whatever,
You
so
just-
I have no idea why. But
Okay.
other than that, yeah, Ninja Turtles, and then later the little Pokemon
Okay.
action figures that were like yay big that my brother destroyed with his teeth because he was 6 years younger than me and
You
used to bite all their heads off
choose
and
on
stuff.
things. See, I was Ninja Turtles as well. I remember a ton of things. I actually specifically remember one Christmas when my parents, for some reason, they thought I couldn't spell yet, but they got me the Technodrome for Christmas. Like they both came together and got me the big giant Technodrome for my Ninja Turtles. And my dad spelled it, and I was like, I'm getting a Technodrome for Christmas. Like I knew exactly what it was. You don't
know what the Technodrome is.
The Technodrome's the big ball, like it's got tank treads on the bottom. It's a ball. It's kind of like the Turtles' Death Star. It's got the eye on the top that like shoots things. Yeah. The Technodrome toy though, it just rolled off the top of it and like hit other toys. I don't know. That was the thing. The two sides opened like a butterfly in a way, and you had like different levels inside there and stuff. Man, I remember
all
that.
the toys used to do that, like the little micro machines, I think they were called, like
yep.
little people.
Yep.
And they always had those, like you said, they had the ball, and you could like usually like almost move a switch, and the whole thing would open.
Yep.
And have all these little pieces and maybe traps or slides for the little toys. Man, those were so much fun.
When I was a kid, I used to love, like, if I was a kid nowadays with the Amazon boxes and everything that come in every single day, I would be in heaven, because back in the day, I would take boxes and I'd cut, the top flaps, I would cut those off, and then I would cut one side of it, and I would build bases out of boxes and like put floors in and use like box tape and tape floors and put stairs and like little furniture and stuff in there. I was very artsy when it came to making bases.
Yeah, you were crafty.
Bases for my toys. And then like, I wonder what the neighborhood thought, because I would take them to my friend's house, which was around the block, right? So I'd just be carrying like 2 giant boxes, which are my bases, so that I could play action figures with my buddy, carrying them on my shoulders, walking through the neighborhood with just boxes randomly. Like, I probably looked like a psycho kid back in the day. They're like, what is going on with
I'm
that
sure
guy?
It was normal back then. That's all we had to play with, cardboard boxes.
They're like, that kid's got a base. Nice. Well done.
Yeah. My favorite fort for me ever was my grandparents bought a refrigerator. Oh. And I took the box that the refrigerator came in, and that was like my base, man. Like, I lived in that.
Oh, that's so good. Man, the things we had to do. My kids, like, my son never got into action figures, and I was really disappointed because, I have action figures all over my walls now. I still love action figures.
You should be happy you didn't rip open all your Star Wars.
Actually, it probably benefited me, because now I get to keep all my action figures, right?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Memories. Good grief.
Please tell me he at least made forts, like some blanket forts, maybe,
Blanket forts. Me and my friends did also. I lived in the desert when I was a kid in Reno, Nevada. And
in a house, though, right?
Well, yeah. No, I just lived in just in the bushes, slept with the coyotes and stuff. But out in my valley, it wasn't super developed yet, and we had this like water ravine that would dry up in the summertime. So we would dig holes into the side of this like big ravine that was there, and we'd have bases inside like dirt. So we'd be able to dig tunnels inside this ravine, and then obviously when it would get to like spring and winter and stuff, and snow would fill. But man, so we didn't build blanket forts. We built holes in the desert ravines for our forts. It was crazy.
I mean, that sounds fun still.
It was crazy. I remember
probably dirty, but fun.
Putting 3 sticks in my hand because I was Wolverine. In between the fingers. Yep. You're like, oh, these are perfect. I'm Wolverine
now. Every kid's
now.
Done that. Spoons, forks, knives, butter knives,
pencils, like whatever.
Yeah.
Pencils were sweet because when you slash things, it made marks. You're like, got it.
The graphite marks were you clawing the wall or something?
Yeah, right. Who's making all these marks on the wall? I don't know. No idea.
Wasn't me. Running around the house with your pencils.
I have no clue. Oh man, that's good stuff. Wow, this was a trip down memory lane, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is the nostalgia episode.
Man, that was good. So, what did I say? The big one is what I titled this episode. So, a lot of people already know that the plan is to release this on podcast services around the globe, as we say. But yeah, we're gonna. So after this one, we'll change them into audio only, which will be pretty easy. But we'll put them out on podcast services. We haven't determined a release day yet. I mean, do you have any preference on release day? So a lot of the podcasts that I listen to, they're like an everyday podcast. So obviously we're not going to release every day, but Is there
Mine are
any?
usually like Tuesday, Wednesday, or something like somewhere around there. But
I feel like we need to release on a work day, so like they could
Yeah.
listen to it through, like maybe if we're not one of the main podcasts, obviously, maybe by the end of the week they have us to listen to queued up. So I was thinking like a Monday, Tuesday. Yeah.
yeah, let's do Monday, Tuesday, like in that ballpark.
Okay.
Try to get them out there by those days.
That'll give us time.
That gives us a little bit of time to get a song.
To
to
edit it down if
a
we need
name.
to cut some stuff out. That is another big one. So I guess technically we have a couple of big ones. We are going to be renaming the show potentially. Well, not guaranteed
Potentially.
yet, but we think we're going to
Yeah.
rename it a little bit because I was doing a little research on podcasts that have the similar feel to what we are doing, and I want it to be a little bit more clickbaity, at least so that you see the name.
Basically, our name isn't obvious what we're doing, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's see to it. Let's see to what?
Yeah.
I guess, like, maybe that's the clickbait. See to what?
Wait, what?
Click-
What are they talking
but-
about?
But there's nothing about, I mean, we're primarily a streaming gaming. Like, we kind of keep saying streaming because gaming can fall in there because you game when you stream or you do other stuff when you stream.
Right.
But
I guess we're trying to force it to be a little bit more open by saying streaming, but I mean, technically basically the whole hour so far has been about video gaming.
I don't know, action figures and forts, so.
No, that's true. That's true. You got me there. So yeah,
I mean, it's obviously about us mostly, like just chit-chatting and like talking about life and whatnot, but we need to pick a subject for our show so that we can describe what the show's about to the general public.
yeah, if someone
And
says,
we keep coming back to streaming.
if you go to a gathering of a bunch of people that you don't know and they go, "Oh, what do you do in your spare time?" and you say, "Oh, well, I have a podcast that I do with one of my buddies," and they go, "What's it about?" I don't know, just listen. We talk.
Yeah.
We talk into microphones and broadcast it. Yeah.
We
so
have
listen.
really nice microphones that we talk into.
Now yours matches and everything.
There we go. I bought this just to match Darth, not because it's a good microphone.
No,
I just
no.
wanted to. I'm gonna start wearing red shirts.
Got to put red checkerboard in the background. You
Yeah.
know, the whole thing.
Maybe grow the goatee or whatever. But
But yeah, so we are releasing them to podcast services starting next Monday. We'll just say Monday. Nice and easy. Make it Monday. That gives us a couple days to edit it down and get everything ironed out. And then the name will change slightly. So follow either me, the real Darth guy, or Justin over here. Your Baggy Noodle Arms on Twitter. One of the two of us will, of course, announce it. And then if you are part of the C2 community, which we recommend you join,
we do.
it's creatorcrew.org, or the Twitch URL is C2 Creator Crew. And you can get to the Discord by discord.creatorcrew.org as well. But
It's a lot of links.
that's a
but
lot of
creatorcrew.org will
things.
get you
Just
to
rewind
all
it when
those
it's
links.
podcast.
Yeah. Again, Baggy Noodle Arms, me, the real Darth guy.
Yep.
It's him. And those are the two main ones. You'll find everything about this show on those two. But if you're interested in kind of what we talk about, what we do, we have a lot of people that talk about the same stuff in that Discord. So
Yeah, and I mean, we run tournaments, which, speaking of tournaments, we do have a Call of Duty tournament coming up, which I'm super excited about because I'm going to win.
Yeah.
You know how that goes. Sorry.
Yeah, April 25th.
Yeah,
Darth's gonna win the tourney. You heard it here first.
I don't have much else. Do you have anything else you want to talk about today?
Who are you playing with in the tourney?
Who am I playing with? I am playing with my son. It's going to be his first tournament where we're actually a team. So
There you go.
I have brought him to Street Fighter tournaments before where he got to play a little bit,
Okay.
but you know, he's been dying to kind of be a part of the thing that I do, which is gaming and streaming and stuff like that. So I'm setting up a whole stream overlay and everything like that so that he can be part of the stream while we're actually competing, and you know, you can see us for all of those games because we're gonna win.
We're gonna win. We'll be in all of them. But yeah, it's gonna be casted on Twitch. So look out for us. We'll talk about that on Twitter as well. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else going on. Yeah, so if you have suggestions for the name of the show, like if you have a good idea for us, let us know. If you want to be a guest on the show, let us know.
We
we have
are
never had a guest.
we
You
are
could be our
looking
first guest.
we are looking for a guest. So please hit us up and let us know if you'd like to come on the show. We're looking real specifically. We're looking for like a Facebook or YouTube streamer. Is really what we. Not saying we don't want to take anything else, but I think it would be really cool to pick someone, Mixer, Facebook, YouTube streamer. I would love to pick their brain about how the platform works, because like I think you and I have a reasonable understanding. We're not like partners or anything, but we have a reasonable understanding of what it is to be a Twitch streamer. We
know all the basics. We've been on the platform both as viewers and streamers for hundreds of hours, and just because we haven't done it doesn't mean we don't understand it. So it'd be cool to get the other people, because I've watched a little bit of Mixer and a little bit of Facebook streams, but I've never streamed on them, and even watching them, I don't have the answers to all the things.
I reserved my name on Mixer just because I didn't want anyone else to take it. So because it links with your Xbox Live account as well. So I changed I paid the $10 or whatever to get my name to match everywhere. But that's about as far as I've gone on Mixer. That's it.
I have 2 Mixer accounts because I got my name, and then I was so excited because before, it was like right before Ninja, I think, or right around that time, went over there. I was like, ooh, there's so many names available on here. I have nudes as a I have nudes as a username on Mixer.
I'll tell you what, that does not sound like a game streamer's screen name.
I just thought it was so funny that I was able to get it, because I was like playing around. I was like, can I have just noodles? That one's taken. Nudes? It's available. And I took it.
Oh, that's funny. That's good stuff.
But
well, okay,
if you want to see my After Dark content, go to Mixer,
Nudes.
2 O's. We should probably end the show there.
On that note, hey, thanks everyone for being here. We didn't interact with chat a lot, but thank you, Baggy, for being here. Petite, we did see you. Cooch, thank you for being here. And so check us out. All 5 episodes that we've recorded so far will be released this Monday on all podcast services. If you don't find it up there, please let us know and we will get it out there for you. So the initial one, we're using Podbean as our service, so it should go on all platforms that are major. And thanks for hanging out with us, and thanks for listening if you are a listener, and we will see you, or you will hear us in the coming weeks. Good night, guys.